Hello and welcome to week 12 of Friday Football Fever. I'm Jeff Jones, and guys, this is our final episode of Fever of the season. It's also our first episode that features only playoff games. Now, every team that enters the postseason does so with motivation, with emotion, and with a lot of energy. But the guys at Liberty Hill, well, they're playing for something else this playoff season. They're playing for the memory of their head coach, Jeff Walker. As we told you 10 days ago, Coach Walker passed away following an 8-year battle with cancer. Well, that means that over the past 2 weeks, the Panthers, for the first time in their high school careers, practiced and prepared for a game without Coach Walker's help. In his place, fittingly, Jeff Walker's younger brother, Kent, stepped in and prepared the Panthers against Glenn as the team's acting head coach.
If you know Coach Walker, you know his biggest fear in life was to let these kids down.
I'm really emotional, and I'm just ready to go out there and play for him and just play for something that's higher than me.
He definitely wanted us to be mentally tough about everything.
Anytime the coaching fraternity loses one, you know, it's tough.
It definitely brought all of us together, closer, to help support each other.
Every day's a blessing, and utilize what you're given as long as you're given to the best of your ability.
Let's get moving with our QC Kinetics Game of the Week. It was a foggy night at Liberty Hill, but rain, snow, sleet, or fog, you knew the Panthers were going to leave it all out on the field tonight in memory of Jeff Walker. Their helmets said it all right there. Walker Tough was written on them, and Blake Simpson has proven that he is exactly that. Tough. The 6'2", 200-pound running back has the strength of the big boys, but he can run like the little guys. His 60-plus yard score was the first of a few explosive plays for the Panthers. Charles Calabretta called dibs on the next big play. The senior quarterback followed his pulling guard and went untouched for a 25-yard touchdown. Then the defense showed us one reason they have pitched 4 shutouts this season. Andon Thomas was in the right place at the right time to recover that fumble. The Panthers stayed perfect on the season, pitching their 5th shutout of the year. They beat Glenn 51-0. Guys, now that you know the score, you've seen some of the highlights and you know the backstory, but there's another level to it. I'm going to bring in my good friend Emily Jean Greco. And Emily, I don't know if emotional is even a big enough word to describe how this game felt. After the game, you had a chance to chat with interim head coach Kent Walker. How'd that conversation go?
You're right, Jeff. There really isn't a word to describe this, so we're just going to say, obviously, it was an emotional one. This was Liberty Hill's first game since their head coach, Jeff Walker, ended his 8-year-long battle with cancer. And when you have a final score of 51-0, I think it's obvious that they were playing for him. In fact, the entire community had a chance to honor him during halftime tonight. Before Coach Walker passed away, he won the Sponsor Excellence Award, and tonight his family was presented the trophy for it at halftime. His brother Kent, who is currently interim head coach, embracing Jeff's wife and kids, the entire stadium standing, applauding, and remembering Coach Jeff Walker. When I spoke with Kent following tonight's win, it's understandable that he was filled with so many different emotions.
I don't know. I mean, I'm so proud of our young men. They came out here, and, you know, we've had a crazy 2 weeks. Everybody knows. So I may get emotional here, but you know, it's just, couldn't be more proud of our coaches and our kids. They just did an awesome job tonight. I love them.
I heard you talking to them, and you said there's someone looking down on us. Could you feel your brother tonight?
Oh, it gives me chills thinking about it. I definitely can feel my brother tonight. No doubt about it.
What do you think he would say to you right now if he saw that you got a win?
Oh, he's just, congratulations. You know, we're you know, I don't know. I'm at a loss for words, really.
Well, Coach, congratulations from us. We're so proud of you, and we're looking forward to continuing to cover you guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank y'all.
A lot of emotions there. Tonight's victory is the 5th shutout win for the Panthers so far this season. And Jeff, I got to tell you, I loved when Kent Walker said he could feel his brother tonight, looking down on him, looking down on this team. And I have a feeling that they're going to continue to feel Jeff Walker's presence throughout the rest of their season.
Yeah, Emily, I think you're right. You know, I don't even know if I actually told you this story or not, but our photographer, JP Harrington, and I were out here before the game kicked off, and we saw the fog. We heard the Liberty Hill band and fans and players talking, and he and I looked at each other and we were like, something's different about this game. So I completely agree with what Coach Kent Walker said. Someone was watching down on them tonight. Back to just football, though, the action that was going on the gridiron, and we saw one of the best defenses in town, Vandergrift, line up against one of the best quarterbacks in town. That's Austin High's Charles Wright. And Austin High wanted to do something today that they hadn't done since 1957. That's 63 wins, and that is win a playoff game. Interesting fact here, the last time that Austin High won a playoff game, they were led by another future Longhorn quarterback, Mike Cotton. Let's go ahead and roll the highlights and show you what happened tonight. Charles Wright showed off that D1 talent on this throw to the corner. Drew Morgan got the toes down right there on the left sideline to make it a 3-point game. Then it was Ryan back. He says, I'm bringing touchdowns back. Yep. The Vipers went up by 10 in the third. They go on to win by more than that. Vandergrift advances 45-24. Emily, I know you were just here, but I hope you didn't go too far. I need some more scores for you. Tell me what's been going on around town.
Jeff, you already know I'm standing 6 feet away. We are keeping safe here in Friday Football Fever. For the big schools in our state, the playoffs actually kicked off last night. And if you missed these scores involving local teams, of course we got you here at Kvue. So Canyon, they won this one over Pflugerville. Final score 2017. And then Llano falling short. Final in that one 53-28. And the playoffs continue tomorrow in the afternoon. Georgetown will host Dripping Springs. Both the Eagles and Tigers topped 60 points in their regular season finale. So expect them to light up the scoreboard in that one. That game is going to be at 1 o'clock. And then over in Giddings, Regents will take the field against Second Baptist. A win would send the Knights back to the state championship game for the 5th year in a row. That game also at 1 o'clock, Jeff.
5 straight years. Wow, that's big time right there. Guys, back to the highlights, and here is the upset of the week. Round Rock hosted Lake Travis, and the Dragons' pass rush is something serious. Big Luke Dodge with the first quarter sack. And then check this out. The fans said, we want more. We want more. Well, Seth Ford delivered that. He rolled out one way and then threw it back across his body, back across the field, right into William Lane's hands. Now, Lake Travis is one of the best programs in the state, so you knew they'd respond. Aiden Nava's reverse tied the game up. But this night belonged to the Dragons. Guys, check out the score. Round Rock sent Lake Travis home in the first round. That's a big-time shocker, and the score is shocking, too. They won by 2 touchdowns. Final score in this one, 35-21. It has been a full 3 weeks since Westlake stepped on the game field, but it turns out they're still really good at football. Cade Klubnik found Jaden Greathouse. The sophomore receiver has college scholarship offers from Texas, Oklahoma, Baylor, Arkansas, and I think you can see why. That Klubnik to Greathouse combo is almost as good as my favorite combination. A number 2 with bacon and a Powerade from Whataburger. I think that's on the menu for me later tonight for the Shaps. Well, they ordered up a first-round win with a side of confidence. Final score in this one, Westlake 57-14. And let's keep the highlights going. Now to a private school 6-man state championship game. Texas School for the Deaf lost to Veritas Academy to open the season, and they lost big, 58-25 in that one. But tonight they got payback and much more. They got a big trophy at the end of this one. The trick play in the 4th pushed the game out of reach. TSD wins its first state championship in 63 years. That number 63, well, it's pretty important, and you can see why. Final score in this one, 63-32. Guys, we have updated you on 8 games so far, and 2 that'll kick off tomorrow, but we have much more left to show you. Scores, highlights, our Band of the Week, and our Play of the Week nominees are all coming up next. Football Fever. I'm joined by my good friend Jake Garcia. I'm Jeff Jones. And Jake, one of my favorite parts about the playoffs and especially about local matchups are the rematches that sometimes we get to see. And we saw one of those down south when Hayes hosted Vista Ridge tonight.
Yeah, and it was actually a rematch from their first game of the regular season. Seems like a lifetime ago, but all the way back in September, Vista Ridge blew out Hayes. But since Hayes is beating everyone except for Westlake and Lake Travis and the Rangers, well, they haven't played in 4 weeks.
Oh, taking a little time off. Let's roll the highlights and see how that did for him. Vista Ridge might have been a little rusty. Hayes, on the other hand, was definitely not. Michael Boudoin took the end around in for a short score. Hayes led 7-zip when Durand Hill looked like Duran. He was hungry like the wolf for touchdowns. Hill connected with Brian Lewis on the deep strike. Vista Ridge tried to make the comeback happen, but it was too little too late. Hayes gets payback and they get the win. Final score in this one, 38-21.
All right, by-district round for Rouse and Glenn as well. By now, hopefully, you know the story of Rouse's season. They go from worst to first, led by a 10th grader at quarterback and a 5'4" spark plug at wide receiver. Mason Shorb to Drew Henson, just like they've been doing all season long. So that makes it a 7-0 game. And later in the quarter, they stay on the ground this time. E.J. Moore making it look easy. If you bet the house on Rouse, you still got a roof over your head tonight. Raiders all over Northeast, 62-0.
Bet the house on Rouse. I like that one. You know what else I like, Jake?
What's that?
Is watching Cedar Park play football. Their offense has been one of my favorite ones to watch all season. And their offense produced my favorite stat that I've heard this season. Entering tonight, quarterback Ryder Hernandez had thrown 34 touchdowns. The Timberwolves had 3 receivers who had at least 500 yards receiving and 6 touchdown catches. But here's where the stat goes from good to great. As a team, 0 interceptions all year long.
Jeff, it's obvious. Anyone that knows the two of us knows that you're the stats and the numbers guy, and I'm the emotional story guy. I'm kidding,
Yeah.
I think. But one of my favorite parts of this year's Cedar Park team is how before every game, head coach Carl Absek and his son Gunnar Absek, they take a selfie. It's their way of cherishing this season, and a season that is looking pretty special.
Yeah, and they're going to have another week to take a selfie a little later on. And speaking of how things look, let's go ahead and roll these highlights for you. Things looked, well, a little hard to look at over there at Cedar Park. The guys at Cedar Park apparently cranked their smoke machine up to the Snoop Dogg setting because we couldn't see a thing. Once the T-Wolves did emerge from the haze, though, they dialed up a trick play against Veteran Memorial, and I absolutely love this play. Gunnar Absek to Ryder Hernandez, back to Absek. That's receiver to quarterback, back to receiver, and that was just the beginning. Absek, the coach's kid who takes the selfies, was back in the end zone moments later. Cedar Park's perfect season stays perfect. Final score in this one, 72-20.
More 5A action and back down to Division II. Eastview hasn't played in 3 weeks, but apparently they've stocked up on some WD-40 because they didn't look rusty at all against McCallum. Charles Ross, 44-yard touchdown catch. On one play, these Patriots have more points than last night's Patriots did all game long. Shots fired. Defense stood stout as well. McCallum looking for the back shoulder fade. Instead, it's Michael Sedwick with the Michael Sed pick. Eastview on to the second round with a 49-14 win.
I like that, and a little shade thrown at the New England Patriots, huh?
Always. That's what I'm here for. It's my job.
What if Cam Newton's watching? What?
I do like Cam. Big fan of Cam. No one else though.
There we go. We like Cam, and you know what else we like? It's what we hear on Friday nights. Tonight, we got to see the Marble Falls. We got to see the Liberty Hill Band in action. We've seen some great bands all season long, and the band that we're honoring tonight as our KVU Band of the Week are the guys from Dripping Springs. Take a listen. Welcome back to Friday Football Fever. He's Jake, I'm Jeff, and Jake, one of the biggest turnarounds that we've seen this season came from the guys at Marble Falls. A year ago, they only had 2 wins. This year, entering tonight, they only had 2 losses, and they lined up against a familiar opponent.
Yeah, Marble Falls and Brenham used to be in the same district. Realignment allowed Marble Falls to get out of what I call the district of death. Still, though, the seniors on this year's team have never beaten Brenham in their high school careers, so a win tonight would not only end the Cubs' season, but it would also be a statement to the state for Marble Falls. Let's take a look at the highlights. Jeff, the element certainly played a huge factor in this one. You know, Marble Falls runs that slot T offense. It's hard enough to defend, and can you imagine having to defend it in the fog? And then it's just rude if they ever decide to pass the ball, which is what happened here. Roberto Adame says, "Dame la pelota." That makes it a 10-7 Mustangs lead, and they'd go on to win it in overtime, 27-24 in a shocker over Brenham.
Wow, to the 4A playoffs. It is state semis time. LBJ took on Lindale with a trip to the championship game on the line, and Daquan Donaldson said he's willing to go through or over anyone to get there. On the very next play, following him hurdling his own teammate, Donaldson took the ball off right tackle and deep into the red zone. That drive would end with a 2-yard touchdown, and LBJ was up 7-zip. But LBJ is known for defense like this. Danny Davis forced a fumble, and future Oklahoma Sooner Latrell McCutcheon recovered it. This thing was all Jags. They led 28-7 at halftime, but then the fourth quarter hit. And it hit hard. They wrapped up the best season in school history, but a few penalties cost them real big. Lindale wins this one 31-28.
To the 4A semifinals, where it was Wimberley against the world. Texans had their hands full against the Carthage team. That's up there with the Bulls dynasty. Down 17-0 in the second, but the Texans making it a bit of a game when Matthew Tippy connects with Ty Pruitt. 44 yards on the home run ball. That makes it 17-7. But Carthage just a little bit too much. They've lost 1 game in the past 4 years. They sure weren't going to lose that many in one night. The win streak now at 29 in Carthage into the state championship game, looking for its 8th title in school history.
Oh, man, I wanted some of the local 4A guys to make it to the championship game, and they got that close but came up short. You know what? You guys don't have to come up short when it comes to getting your own free Friday Football Fever t-shirt. Now, usually I bring one of these out, but I've got some extras. Jake,
here we go.
You can hold that one. JP, our photographer, can hold that one. Emily, you can hold that one. I want you to hold this one. So, Emily, will you take a picture of us with our shirts? There we go. I'm going to post that picture on my social media pages at Jeff Jones Sports on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I don't just want to give out 1 t-shirt per social media platform. I want to give out 2 this time since this is the last one of the season. So what you need to do is find that picture that I'm going to post, comment on it, and make sure you will follow me on that platform. Hopefully I'll pick you at random. Guys, stay right there. We have our Power Player of the Week coming up next. Welcome back to Friday Football Fever. He's Jake Garcia, I'm Jeff Jones, and Jake, now it's time for one of my favorite parts of the show this season. It's time for us to honor our PEC Power Player of the Week.
Yeah, our chance to celebrate someone who gets good grades, gives back to the community, and contributes to the overall fun on Friday nights.
And as usual, we found somebody who checks all those boxes and more. We'd like to wish congratulations to Cedar Park's Emma Hoffman. Emma is a student athletic trainer whose schedule is packed. When she's not helping rehab athletes with injuries, she is active in the youth groups at her church. She's a member of 4 different honor societies at school, and she is always finding new ways to give back. Emma recently helped clean up a local park with friends from the National Honor Society, and when it comes to community service, that is just the tip of the iceberg.
I went on a mission trip to Belize with my church. I go on tours with my church choir. We sing at different retirement homes, hospice centers, things like that. And other donations, I recently just donated 8 Christmas cards to the Lakeland Oaks Retirement Center. It feels awesome. It's great to get out there, see different people, and help out when I can.
7, McCallum, nothing.
The offenses to pass the ball. Durand Hill going deep to Bryant Lewis. And Jeff, Lewis has reservations for 6.
Oh, gotta call
reservations for 6 on an outdoor patio with heaters and socially distant seating, of course. Hayes gets the top play in the win over Vista Ridge.
Love it. And last up, we have one of the top sophomores in the state, wide receiver Jaden Greathouse. Now, guys, this guy is only in 10th grade, and he can make grabs like that. If you watch closely, his right hand never touched the ball. That was all lefty on there. By the way, he is 6'3" and 200 pounds, and I'll say it again, only in 10th grade. All right, now that you've seen our top 3 Play of the Week nominees, it's your job to go on my Twitter page, @JeffJonesSports, and vote. I recently posted a poll with all 3 of those plays as options for you to click on. Whichever one you like the best, click on that option. We'll add up all the votes. Well, Twitter will add up all the votes, and then we will re-air the winning play Tuesday in the 6 o'clock show. Jake, I think being that this is the last episode of the season, it's time to say thank you to some people who work hard behind the scenes to make us look good and show you guys the highlights on air every Friday. And so on behalf of Emily and Jake, I want to say thanks to our photographers who have been with us all year long, Scott Guest, Brian Bell, JP Harrington, Tom Rapp. We had Jackson Grimm today. our producer, Kevin Davison, our director, James back there. There are a lot of people who work hard, and I know I'm forgetting names.
The thing I want to tell you is don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened.
There it is, there it is. And I'm gonna go ahead and let these highlights run so I can go cry and smile through the tears. We'll see you guys next time with more local sports news.